Hey everybody, it's the end of January 2025. I'm John. Welcome back to the channel. We've been having a real winter here. Super cold temperatures, snow on the ground continuously, basically since before rifle season, so Thanksgiving time frame. So crazy amount of snow. Just gonna walk around, see what we can find. Check out the Chestnut Orchard, see if there's any animals out and about, see if we can see some tracks, see if we can come on anything interesting. You never know when you're on what seems like a pretty blank canvas. Sometimes you can find some pretty cool stuff. All right away has some canine tracks. They're kind of running down the hill, but you can see very clearly canine. Pretty big for a fox. They're crossing this way too. I'm gonna say probably coyote. They milled around here for a little bit. Here we are in the apple orchard. Apple trees holding a bunch of snow. There was more, it started melting or blowing off. It's cold still. This beautiful apple trees just holding a lot of snow. We've had a real winter. It's beautiful, the sun's out a little. Beautiful. Plenty of deer tracks. Areas where they peed. I saw some faint rabbit tracks. A lot of deer action though. This is the type of snow that is up to 14, 16 inches. But it's not quite crusty enough where snowshoes make sense. It's close. Maybe on a cold day. If it gets real crusty after a warmer day, gets the top soft. But it's still pretty fluffy. Some sort of canine again. I'm gonna say this is a fox. Kind of putting their feet in the same tracks. Walking on down. I'm taking a couple of my boys on an African safari. There will be a hunt as part of that. As part of the upcoming couple months leading up to that, I'm gonna cover an African animal. See if we can all learn a little something about some African animals. This week's animal is the blue wildebeest. It is a member of the antelope family. They have 5 subspecies. They can run up to 65 kilometers per hour. They migrate in large groups, often in single file. They are the driver of migration. It's the herds of wildebeest moving that lead everything else to move, such as predators like lions, hyenas, and other scavengers. They're made for speed. Their babies can walk within minutes. They can run within a couple days. They eat a lot of grass. And they are key to the health of the rest of the population. Okay, that's the African animal of the episode. What do you think about that one? We'll get back to the episode. That's my knee right there. It's like almost stiff enough to stand on, and then fluffy. Almost see an icy sheen. We have had a couple days that got to 34, then back to cold. That area probably would be good for snowshoes, but I don't have them with me today. Tell you what, sun comes out and you start having to go through knee-high snow in places. Get your heart rate up. Beautiful behind me though, isn't it? This would definitely be better if it had snowshoes. I can actually walk on top of it in some places. Just take it easy and enjoy the day. Get over to the Chestnut Orchard. Well, I'm a little out of breath. And of course there's a breeze at the top of the hill. But we're to the Chestnut Orchard. Plowing through anything from 6 inches to 20 inches of snow. You can see, being a member of the beech family, these trees hold their leaves till late in the winter. The exact reason for that is uncertain. According to what I've read, they do hold leaves maybe to deter animals from chewing on the buds, but it's just not certain why they do that. But you can see the tips are without leaves, but some of the interior leaves on this particular tree are on there. So that theory doesn't seem quite as good. But some of the soft tips may die, but often they do fine. And let's walk down to some of our more mature trees. Hopefully the sound of me clopping through the snow and me huffing and puffing doesn't mess up the audio. But if you're new to the channel, this is just about 10 acres of chestnut orchard. We have 29 different known mother trees, but we only have about 3 actual varieties. All the rest of the trees, 447, are hybrids, where we only know the mother tree and then the seed was open pollinated. So it's kind of like a mama with a bunch of different daddies. The kids can look a lot different. So mostly Chinese, Mollissima, Castanea, Mollissima genetics, but also plenty of Japanese, Korean, which is Crenata. Both of those have good blight resistance. The Japanese Korean has a bigger nut. We do have a little bit of Castanea sativa, which is the European chestnut, which is sweet, but blight susceptible. And we have, of course, some American genetics, although they are lesser part due to their blight susceptibility, Castanea dentata. But these trees I'm approaching here, I'll swing around so you can see them in the background, are just across their 10th year in the orchard. Now these first ones that were crossing, I grew myself from seed, from Dunstan parents, which Dunstan is a hybrid too. It's mostly Chinese with a tiny bit of American genetics. And they're doing okay. I would say they're doing about as well as any other Chinese tree. Some blight susceptibility, some die, most live, just like most of the Chinese trees. We'll switch the camera around. Here's some of my favorite trees in the dead of winter. Post holing through the snow here. It's deep right here for some reason, just over the edge of the hill, I guess. But that tree is the one that the deer was making a community rub. Decided to put a fence around it. It produces very early. It's about 20, 25 foot tall. A lot of other really nice trees here. 30-foot spacing here. 30 foot in the rows, 30-foot rows apart. And 900 foot long. So 31 trees, start to finish. We'll walk and get a little view here for you. Here's the top on a spectacular day. If you notice, when I first was talking to you, it was cloudy. Now it's all broken apart. It's a beautiful sunny day, 28 degrees. So not so cold that I can't talk. Yeah, we got some tracks here. I'm gonna say this is another fox. Fox or coyote, hard to say. But let's look down this row. I told you 900 foot, that's pretty long. Beautiful. If we look at that, that's the older part. We look at the younger part that I planted 5 or 6 years ago. Not quite as good. It just takes longer. That soil stays slightly more moist over there too. We actually have a diagonal of a soil type change there, which is crazy, on the top of a hill. Second highest point in Erie County from what I can best tell. The property 2 over there is about 6 foot taller. But highest point in Erie County anyway. Beautiful, just beautiful. This is an area where I did hack and squirt. You can see that was about 5 years ago. All the trees are gone. I hack and squirted here to try to get more stuff to grow up and also reduce competition with favored trees such as that oak and these 2 black cherries. Nice tree. Has a nice open canopy. Probably should take the cherry tree off to the right. Some sort of animal. What do you think, guys? Bird? Goes tree to tree. You think it's squirrel? I don't know. Following deer tracks here. Whatever the tracks, they're everywhere. Weasel, you think? Weasel hopping? They're going underneath trees. Deadfalls. Let me know in the comments, guys. Something I don't know. There's a lot I don't know. But look here. Same deal. Whatever it is. Has a lot of tracks. And then it looks like they've congregated underneath this deadfall. Chipmunk? They hibernate. I'm gonna go with, could be bird, but I'm gonna guess weasel or small squirrel. That's what I'm gonna guess. Don't have to wonder why they're gnawing at this spot. The answer is right there. And the cause of the acorn is that beautiful oak tree right there. Got a little bend in it, but nice, productive oak tree. This is why you plant turnips and radishes. Look at that. Gives them something to do, something for nourishment. And checking out the hazelnuts. Catkins starting to form. Well, they are formed. You see they're multi-stemmed. I don't know the exact variety of each tree, but I do know I have Jefferson, Yamhill, and a couple unknowns. You can see this tree just has a couple little catkins. Just a few. He's got all sorts of branches starting to expand around the cage, but I'm leaving the cage just to protect as best I can. This little guy has had tons of nuts last year. Lots of catkins again. This is about the height I remember my parents' hazelnuts being. And I don't know what happened, but my dad got tired of them and he cut them down. He needed a path to the barn, but these are going to stay for a while. Here's a bunch that I planted last spring as 2-year-old bare roots, so they're 3 years old. You can see they sent up a new, I don't know, blueberries, I think they call them, or raspberries, I think they call them canes. I don't know what you call them here, but some of them taken right off and some sitting there just kind of, I don't know, growing roots. Maybe they're going to die. This guy, obviously I planted it inside the cage, but here's this guy, taller than any of them outside the cage. It's been nipped off right there. I don't know if the camera's gonna let me focus on that. There's the site of many great hunts. Here's the site of the original chestnut on the property. We had 3 that I bought from the originators of the Dunstan chestnut. 2 died. 1 due to blight, which I showed pictures of before, and 1 due to voles eating the roots. This tree is doing great. Although it lost a branch in a heavy, heavy snow, it's healing over that just fine. No sign of disease. Doing great. And maybe our final thing before we go today, thanks for following with me. Thanks for being patient. Not a lot of content in the winter. I don't want to bore you, but I want to show you. These are white spruce. Supposedly deer eat them less. I was told they don't eat northern white pine. Well, that's false. And so I planted these in groups of 3 and 4 to provide a little bit of thermal cover in what once was a field. And I still have some of it in fields. You can see corn stalks, but I'll show you what happens if you don't protect white spruce. Now right here is a white spruce, which is doing okay, but that is like a 5 or 6 year old tree. And I got tired of waiting on them because it seemed like they weren't doing anything. And look what, 2 years ago, I decided I'm just gonna I had an extra wire cage, I'm gonna put one on a tree and see what happens. Look at that tree. Just one wire cage. And it's perplexing to me because you see the top, nice candle, whatever you want to call that, leader, and a beautiful tree. I'm going to have to take that down at some point. But it doesn't look like the deer are eating the tops. The tops stay on. It does look like, rabbits or something eat the bottom, but I'm perplexed as to why the cage helps if the leader's not getting eaten. But I can tell you, last year I decided after seeing that one tree doing so well, I put a whole bunch more in cages, and look at the 1 year growth. I mean, this tree was equal to that tree, and it's triple in size. So I'll be caging up the last few of those, and I mean, you look at this guy. Deer love rubbing pines, so that could be contributing. If they're rubbing, I mean, that tree may not survive. Here's what remains of the borderline. Still something there. Still some protection. But most of the seeds are gone, but there's some residual. All right, as I plow through some deep snow, post-tolling, I promise, I'm finally letting you go. Appreciate you watching. Hopefully you're getting out and beating the seasonal affective disorder, which I have desperately bad this year. I needed this day. It's beautiful, sun shining, able to get out and exercise. I hope all of you have a great day. I'll see you all in the next one. Meanwhile, if you're not out there doing something and you're not out there growing, you're dying. Catch you on the next episode.